Hey everyone, so this week's emerging technology and science news from the fanaticalfuturist.com blog. Now, what we have at first is relatively uninteresting, but from a cybersecurity perspective, it's important nonetheless. We've recently found a lot of laptop farms in North America, and those laptop farms are being accessed and used by remote workers who are, surprisingly, in North Korea. So we've seen hundreds of US multinational firms actually hiring remote workers who they thought were authentic and legitimate and all that kind of stuff, but actually turned out to be North Korean spies who are now in their networks. So maybe if you're one of those, go and check that out. Now, we've also seen this one here, so we've got DARPA's revolutionary quantum laser. Now, what's making a quantum laser special, you might ask? Well, it's the fact that using quantum mechanics, we can actually glue light particles together, which means we actually have an incredibly powerful military laser that can increasingly punch through clouds and all kinds of different things. That's it. So, thanks to the random weirdness of quantum mechanics, we have new laser technologies coming through. And if you think lasers aren't actually that interesting or important, well, on the one hand, we've got laser weapons coming through, but actually they're used in healthcare, satellite communications, space-to-earth-based energy transfer, and all kinds of different things. Now, we've also got Udio. Now, my son has actually been using Udio. Udio is a text-to-music service. Now, while a lot of text-to-music services have actually been popping up over the past, really sort of 5 years, what makes Udio special is that you can put in exactly the kind of song that you want, you can enter lyrics, and not only do you actually get the backing track, but you actually get the lyrics as well. It's really good. In fact, my son's music teacher is completely freaked out by this technology. So, there you go. Now, what we've also got is NVIDIA. So, NVIDIA's CEO basically says that by 2030, he believes that the vast majority of games will be AI generated. Now, you can take that in one of two ways, either created by AI or generated by artificial intelligence, akin to using synthetic content AI. But while we all know that games are being increasingly generated by artificial intelligence, here's the rub. Today, games are rendered using GPUs. However, if you use artificial intelligence, aka synthetic content, synthetic media, to generate a game on the fly, you need a fundamentally new kind of computing platform, which he actually calls generative computing. So if you want to know what the future of NVIDIA looks like, the future of GPUs might look like, and everything else, then start casting your eye on generative computing rather than high definition rendering. Now, we've also got this one. So we've got Fetch AI, Singularity.net, and the Ocean Protocol. They are Web 3.0 kind of blockchain-based protocol organizations. They've all come together basically to create a decentralized artificial intelligence platform. So at the moment, if you think about it, 7 companies in the world, both in the US and China, control every single multi-billion-dollar, multi-trillion parameter artificial intelligence foundational model, which puts a huge amount of power in the hands of the likes of Microsoft and OpenAI, especially when you think about the future of economies and so on and so forth, and let alone when you consider that OpenAI's artificial intelligences can already make almost fully autonomous companies by themselves. So decentralized artificial intelligence is these 3 players' way of trying to democratize AI and wrestle it out of the hands of the big tech giants. We've also got deepfake detection startups basically coming out of the RSA conference 2024. Now, these actually use a whole variety of different technologies that I've described before to try to identify whether or not, for example, the thing that you're watching now, me, is actually a deepfake. Now, they use a variety of different technologies. I won't go into it, but you can actually have a look at the article for yourselves. But they will actually use things like tonal analysis, colorization, spatial color grading, and all kinds of clever things to do essentially analysis in depth. Now, we've also got Aimbit, however you pronounce them. Anyone in cybersecurity or IT or OT basically will know that you generally secure a computer system using identity access management. Now, Aimbit are actually applying IAM to workloads, because increasingly you have artificial intelligence workloads accessing other AI workloads, for example, and so on and so forth. So Aimbit basically has actually created what they call workload IAM. So might not be exactly everyone's cup of tea, might not be that interesting. However, if you don't want your stuff hacked over and over and over again, that's actually quite an important technology. We've got some more deepfake startups coming out, and then we've also got the CEO of WPP. Now, this is an interesting one because I've talked about the use of deepfakes to do biometric spoofing of important executives before. We recently saw Arup being defrauded of $25 million, and so on and so forth. So biometric spoofing is a problem. But in this particular case, what makes this one interesting was that the CEO of WPP was deepfaked. However, the criminals used a deepfake replica of him to have a conversation with one of WPP's suppliers, and they were being asked to set up a new company. Now, in the cyberspace, I've also seen some cyber criminals essentially using ransomware to take control of organizations' assets. And rather than saying, look, tell you what, we've just managed to hoard, whatever, $45 million worth of crypto that your company holds, some criminals basically have now said, we will give you your money back, your company assets back, but in return, we want your entire company. So when you actually have a look at the way that cyber criminals are actually acting, I am seeing changes in behaviors there, which actually is increasingly worrying. They're very, very brazen. We've got DeepMind, and when we have a look at DeepMind's artificial intelligence AlphaFold 3 now has mastered all of life's molecules. So that's how you put proteins together, DNA and RNA, basically, and all kinds of other things together. If you want to create fully synthetic animals and organisms, aka aliens, then this is actually a good artificial intelligence that can help you do that. We've also got Anthropic, so June the 18th. So Anthropic have actually been using artificial intelligences to jailbreak other artificial intelligences. However, what we're finding is as we increase the context window in these large language models, now context window is essentially the text box, the amount of text that you can put into a text box to get these AIs to do whatever it is you want to do. What we're finding is these AIs will ask many, many, many times the same question. And once they've asked the question about 200 times, you've got to do particular prompts, the AIs that are being targeted break. So it's a little bit like me saying, hey, can you help me make some drugs? And you say, no. And me saying that 200 times, and eventually it's almost like parents, you get fed up of it and go, all right then. So it's really quite an odd jailbreak, that one. And then talking of ransomware, we've got IBM's new flash storage arrays, which actually use artificial intelligence embedded into the storage array. Now, in this particular case, what they're doing is IBM, quite cleverly, and NetApp uses a similar kind of technology, will identify that there are huge numbers of writes going on to particular disk drives. So what these IBM storage arrays will do is they will say, on a normal day, the baseline of writes, the amount of information that's being written to a hard drive, for example, is this. However, if it suddenly spikes, they go, that looks a little bit like odd behavior, and then it starts, ratcheting everything down and alerting everybody. And anyway, that's it. So what was that? That was 11 days worth of emerging technology and science news from the fanaticalfuturist.com blog, which is also replicated on the 311institute.com blog. And actually, if you go into each and every one of these articles that I've mentioned, then you will see how these stories have evolved over the years. You can learn about not just these particular technologies, but all of the complementary technologies that are associated with them and everything else. And then do a little bit what I do, basically become a little bit more futuristic and futuristy. Anyway, take care, goodbye, see you later.